Hey guys, well the other day, as some of you might know, I posted a update about my book Anuanna, which you can actually see behind me. I also asked if a couple of people suggested to do a Q&A video about the book, and I posted it up. I also put out different posts and asked around to see if anyone was interested, and I actually got a few questions back. There's about half a dozen questions, so not a load, but I think that's enough to make one video. So I'm just happy that people ask questions. So also I'd like to apologise if I look a bit of a mess. I'm sorry. So I've been out all day. I'm tired. I've been up London for most of the day, and it's just coming back home. I'm just like, so hence why I look like this. But yeah, I'm going to get on with the video. My first question was, what inspired you most about Anuanna? And we kick off with a very good question. What inspired me most about it? I don't know, I think I always like my scripts and everything I write, but with Anuanna, I didn't actually expect to fall in love with the story as much as I have. Because even though, like I said, I've written a few scripts for films and everything else, short films, all sorts, I've liked them all, but I've never really fallen in love with them, not like I have for Anuanna. And that's what kept me going, because I love the characters that I wrote about. I love the whole genre, and it's the storyline as well, and the backgrounds and the romances and everything else that goes on in it. That's what kept me inspired. Just the story in general, really. It's just my imagination let loose. I just really, plain simply, I just really like to write about it and the ideas I get. Sometimes it can be a bit difficult. It's hard sometimes. Sorry, I have two. Shh. So I have two little dogs here, and I've got one messing around by my feet. And look. Ooh, look. Yep. This is one of my gorgeous little doggies. Can you say hello? Can you say hello? This is Bailey, one of my little puppies. Yeah. So if you hear dogs in the background, this is why. Do you want to come in, Alfie, as well? You want to come, Alfie? No, Alfie ran off. He doesn't want to come on camera. Right, so that's that little guy. Go. So that, be good. You be quiet for me? I just hope that I just hope they don't start fighting when I'm trying to record. This is my second little one. This is Alfie, my little Shih Tzu. This one's Bailey. He's called Chug, I think. Well, he's also called Chug. Half pug, half chihuahua. So, yeah. Ooh. Shh. No fight. Don't play. No fighting. No fighting. Great. But yeah. Anyway, before I got interrupted. That's basically what kept me inspired about Anuanna. The second question is, how did you think of the name Anuanna? Well, with this, I can't actually say too much because I'll give it away. But basically, I've got an idea for how I want all the novels to come to an end. As I mentioned in my last video, I've just finished writing out the second book. This is actually, for anyone who doesn't know, this is actually the first book. These two are just part 1 and 2 of the first one. It was too big to put it into one book, so I just had to split it in two. The actual second one is being looked at the moment, and basically, if I continue writing Anuanna, I don't know how many books there would be. There would be several, and because I know how I wanted to end the whole thing, I looked around. This probably won't make sense at the moment, but I was when I was trying to think of a title, I was basically looking at things about gods, group of gods, deities, things like that. But I didn't like it. None of those names suited the book. So I looked to see what the Greek name of deities, group of gods, things like that were. And forgive me, I'm probably going to slaughter this word, but I think the Greek word was Anuanna, so I can't remember. It was something along the lines of Anuanna or something, but I didn't like how that sounded or looked. So I basically took that word and just played with it a little bit, and I ended up adding like an extra N and an extra A and came up with Anuanna. So it originated from the Greek word for deities. Like I said, that won't make sense at the moment, but if I continue writing the book, then that should end up making more sense later on, hopefully. How long, third question, how long did it take you to write? Well, I came up with the idea in 2015, but because I didn't want to, well, I did, but I couldn't turn it into a film, I left it for a few months. I thought, well, I'm never going to be able to make a film at this height, so I'm just going to leave it. But I kept having a nagging feeling to write it, so I just thought, well, like I said, I'm not going to turn it into a film. I don't have the funds, can't do it. So I eventually came up with the idea to make it into a book. I think it was a few months, roughly a few months after I first got the idea that I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to write it into a book. So I did start writing in 2015, finished in 2016 or 17. Around that. End of I can't remember the exact date in here, but it was either end of 2016 or beginning of 2017. And when I finally got it all done, and I released it in 2017. Did you work on your books alone? Yes and no. Well, yes, as in I wrote the whole thing by myself. It was my idea. No one helped. I came up with it while I was trying to brainstorm for a new film project to write. So, yes, in that respect, that I wrote it from scratch. It was all my ideas, and I did the whole novel by myself. No, as in when I finally finished writing it, I had a small group of people help me. After I was done, I had a couple proofreaders. I had two proofreaders. One person who designed the book covers that you can see now, and I had maybe 4, 5, 6. I can't remember exactly now. There was a few book reviewers. I sent my book out and had them reviewed and come back. So there was a small group of us at the end. Once I completed the book, there was a small group of us at the end that people came in at the end while trying to help me complete it, let's all polish it off. But from the beginning, working from scratch and coming up with the idea, it was all me by myself, so yeah. What triggered this idea of yours for the story? Well, as I explained before in my last video, it was basically I was trying to think of a film script to write for myself. Anyone who knows anything or is trying to get into the acting industry will know that the acting industry is so big and the most difficult industry in the world to get into. I just started writing projects for myself because it's so incredibly hard to get jobs in this area. It's so incredibly hard. It's near enough impossible sometimes. So I thought, well, I'll write a couple. I started writing a few, and then I became inspired to write another one. But I didn't want to write another horror and thriller because that's what I usually write because I'm a big horror fan. So I thought, well, this time instead I'm going to do the complete opposite, and I want to write something as far away from horror as I can. So I came up with romance, but I don't like pure romances where it's nothing but romance, lovey-dovey stuff. So I also like fantasy things. I love fantasy as well. So I thought fantasy romance, I'll put that in. So I don't actually watch many things like that. I think the only fantasy romance thing I've ever watched, to be honest, is probably Twilight. I haven't watched anything else that's anything in that genre, I don't think. That's both fantasy and romance. Maybe Underworld as well. And there was a comedy about zombies. I can't remember what it's called, but there was a few years ago, it was a comedy film about zombies. A zombie fell in love with this girl, and then because he fell in love with her, he became alive again, and then started turning all the other zombies. They started becoming alive gradually. I can't remember for the sake of me what that film's called. I watched it years ago. So yeah, I think those three are probably the only ones I've seen as fantasy and romance. So I thought I'll make my own. Are any of the characters based off people in your real life? Yes, actually. Anne, the main character, she's actually based off myself. Anne's family is based off my own family, including all the pets. Oh, trying to think now. Charlotte and Liam, they're actually not based on anyone. I made those up completely, just randomly. But I did throw in a couple of my own experiences into their past. Not many. Felix is completely my own imagination. I'm pretty sure there are a couple more. Yeah, one of the professors, I think it's Professor Wilde, she's a little bit based on a woman I used to know years ago when I was younger. Oh, I can't think now. I'm pretty sure there is a couple more. Oh yeah, there is someone else who is based on someone I didn't like in school. There's a group of people. There's a group of people and someone else. I don't want to give too much away. I don't want to give the story away too much and give away the characters too much. But there is a group of people. There's a group of people who is based on people I didn't like in school. Bullies, basically. I'll just say this. At the beginning of the novel, you see that Anne's... excuse me. You can read that Anne is driving the car of her boyfriend. Well, I mixed that character with someone I know, who I'm very close to, and also another bully. So it's a mix of someone I'm very fond of and someone I'm really not fond of mixed into one character. So that was interesting to write about. So yeah, that's him. Actually, saying that, I've actually, one of my good friends, I've actually based the group of bullies I was talking about, I actually based one of them on my good friend. And in the second book, you can he actually starts to turn. You can see he's a good guy, and he starts to turn. And he's actually, because he's based on my friend, you start seeing more about him, and seeing what he's really like. And he's based off a good friend of mine. I'm sure there's a few more, but I just can't remember them at the moment. Last question is, what was your favourite scene in your story? This I cannot answer without giving any part of the book away. So I can't answer specifically for this, but I'll just answer as vaguely as I can. So there's actually, it's not one scene though, there's actually quite a few scenes I'm really attached to. It's mainly the romance scenes, and there's some fight scenes. Oh, there's some scenes in class. Oh my god, I'm starting to remember all these scenes coming in now, but I can't say them. I can't, I really want to go into these scenes now. There's some fight scenes and some lusty scenes. And as I said in my last video, there's sex in there as well, so that's how lusty it gets. The sex was actually quite embarrassing for me to read. I've never written anything like that before, so that was, that was very, yeah. That was a little bit awkward for me to write. But, oh, It was kind of fun. It was a new experience for me. Funny enough though, the sex scene wasn't my favourite. It was actually a couple of sex scenes, but there's a few lusty ones, and it's borderline. it's interesting, but yeah, I really can't get into detail without giving the book away. So yeah, so basically there's some fight scenes, there's some lusty scenes, there's all sorts of different scenes and just things with creatures, enemies, everything else, lovers, and yeah. So there are a lot in there that I'm really fond of. But yeah, that's all the questions I've had. Thank you for everyone who sent in your questions. Alfie! Shh. Thank you to everyone who thank you to everyone who even asked me questions. I wasn't too sure if anyone would, but I'm just pleased someone did. I'm just pleased there's actually people out there who's shown an interest. That's very flattering. I was given more than enough questions to answer, and I'm pleased about that. But I've just been trying not to give too much away, so I have to be really vague about some things. If anyone wants to ask more questions or find out more about Anuanna, then please do feel free. You can check Amazon, it's on there, or you can go to my Facebook page where I've set one up just for Anuanna. You can ask me personally if you like, just respond on the video, or you can message me through my page, which just search Madeline McQueen on Facebook. Hopefully you'll be able to find me. Or I might leave links in the video if anyone wants to check those out. If anyone has any questions, just feel free to ask me, or anything else. I don't think I'm going to get enough questions to make another video, but I'm fine with that. I don't mind making another video or just answering people personally. We'll see how it goes. I'm surprised I've got questions this time, to be honest. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't know if I will make any more, but like I said, can't tell what the future holds. Oh, I'd like to say thank you so much for everyone who has supported me, showing interest, who's been there and everything else. You're all stars. I love you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And even watching this video, it just shows that you have an interest. So thank you very much. Like I said, I'll leave links in the video if you want to check out anything else about the book. So yeah, if you watched this video, thank you very much. Do take care, and hopefully I'll speak to some of you soon. Bye!